What is up, guys? Welcome back to Cozy Talks. Today is our Friday night special where we give you our picks, parlays, and we'll run through the card again, give you guys any updates. If there's any pullouts, just anything going on with this card. Unfortunately, we already have one happened last night, so we're gonna go over it and talk about it real quick, and then run through the card, and then give you guys our plays.
Oh, yeah, we appreciate you guys, and don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and also leave a comment. Let us know how you're feeling.
Yes, yes, yes. It'd be very much appreciated. With that being said, let's get into it. So, uh, with the pullout, it was Sergey Spivak against Shamil Gaziev. He withdrew I don't know, it was like 10 o'clock when I saw it on Twitter. So it's pretty quick, and they already got an opponent. And we'll get to it. We'll show you his opponent in a sec. But before we get there, let's start with these early prelim cards. So Mark Buhilo versus Denzel Freeman. I said Denzel Freeman on the Tuesday show, and I'm still rocking with that pick here. I'm just more confident in him having the higher competition.
Yeah, I got Denzel Freeman too. Looks like we were wrong though. Looks like Freeman's coming in as the favorite in this fight,
Oh,
but I
here,
got I
I'll
got
open it up.
Freeman. Yeah, I
Oh
got
wow,
I
yeah,
got I got Freeman by possible knockout here. I don't think this fight will see the distance.
yeah. Next fight, Nurul Aliyev versus Shaq Rock or Shemrock, I guess is what he likes to go by. Yeah, I'm still on Shemrock. He's my dog pick here. I just like that he's with Patty's camp.
Yeah, 100%. I got the underdog in this one too, but I will be honest, be prepared to see kind of like a snooze fest coming from this other guy. This other guy might make it into a snooze. Who knows? Who knows?
Well,
I could
that's
be
what
just completely wrong,
I
but
was saying. He's like notoriously known for. He's like a lay and pray, like takedown merchant.
yeah, being already doing that and you're 24 years old,
Boo.
UFC don't want you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what they did to Muhammad Mokaev.
Yeah. Next fight in the prelim, we get Ryan Loder and Ismail Nardiev. I've been on Ryan Loder. I like the thought of him, being able to get a takedown. Him having his college wrestling background, and he's pretty violent on the ground. I think he can get this done by ground and
Yeah.
pound.
Yeah, I got Ryan Loder as well. He gets on top. He gets on top position. I think he can get it done. But either way, I think Loder's going to be stepping in here with a lot more game. If that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Next fight, we get Begzat Almakhan versus Alexandre Taporia. That's Ilya Taporia's brother. For whoever didn't know, uh, my picks on Begzat Almakhan. I mean, he already had his UFC debut, and his UFC debut was against a Nurmagomedov brother. It was against Umar, or maybe is that Khabib's brother or cousin? Either way,
That's it. I think that's his cousin. But I mean,
yeah.
yeah. Either way,
We know where he's from. So it was an impressive fight. Unluckily, he lost. Unanimous decision. That's just how it goes. It's a tough fight, especially in your debut. Taporia, he fights the similar boxing style to Ilya, but I think that Begsat is just going to bring in a lot higher level of wrestling than Alexander's
yeah,
going to
and
show.
yeah, exactly like I had said in our Tuesday video. I just think Alexandre is a Timu Ilya. But Begzot coming in, taking. I think pretty sure he was. I don't know if it was short notice or not, but either way, I mean, he came in USA debut against Umar,
Mhm.
took it to decision. Yeah, I think Begzot can get the job done here. And another thing as well is that he could strike. I mean, after that loss, he won his next fight by KO. So
Yeah, yeah, impressive win. Next fight, we get Abdul Rahman Yakayev versus Rafael Sequeira. I'm on the side of Abdul Rahman, undefeated Turkish man. He's got a lot of KOs on his record, and he's a huge favorite. It's probably a fight I'm not going to touch, but that is my pick for this fight.
1,000, jeez. This is the second this back-to-back UFC events where we've seen dudes with the nickname Hunter be over 1,000 minus 1,000 favorite. But with that being said, I got Abdul Rahman. I agree with Joe though. I'm probably not going to be touching this fight. I don't see any value in it.
Yeah,
But I don't see in any money with going with the underdog here either.
yeah.
But he's been finished.
I will say, last time we saw Cerquera fight a dude with this big of odds, it was Julius Walker, and that fight went to a decision.
Yeah.
So just keep an eye on that. This could be a decision fight, surprisingly, but I'd be very disappointed if that was the case. Next fight, we got Alex Perez versus Asul Almabayev in the flyweights. This is probably their way of trying to kick Alex Perez out of the rankings because he has been pretty inactive inside the rankings. He last time he fought was Tatsu Taira a little bit over a year ago, and that was because Tatsu Taira tore apart his knee from that backpack position. My pick on this one is Asu. I think Asu can get this done with his wrestling and just it'll probably be a decision. I'm not sure if it'll be a finish. I think the potential for a finish could be a sub. No, I don't really see a KO on the side of Asu. I would see him either wrestling down to a decision or getting his submission win.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it all just comes down to how Asu controls this fight. But I mean, I got Alex Perez in this. I still think Alex Perez is a huge like he is an underdog, but I think he just got that dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
I like Alex Perez. I like the way he fights. He's a little bit kind of like a brawler. And Asu, though it wasn't like a flush clean knockout, he did get TKO'd by Manel Kape
Mm-hmm.
come in the later rounds. So I mean, maybe I don't know. We'll get into that later, or we'll talk about that later. But I mean, I'm going with the underdog here. I like Alex Perez. I think he's coming off that long layoff. Especially due to an injury, he's going to be kind of urgent to get some shit done in there.
Yeah. Next fight, we get Saeed Isaac-Mayev versus Nicholas Dalby. This fight was closer to being the opener on the prelims, if I remember right. They kind of rearranged this card a bit, it looks like.
Yeah,
But Saeed, he trains with Khabib and everyone outside in that Eagles camp and Abdul Manap camp. My pick is Saeed. I think he's gonna get this done. Probably early, which would be kind of a shocker. But I think this is it's his debut. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So I think he's gonna try and put himself on the map here. Fighting in Qatar, fighting in front of a lot of the home crowd. Dalby, last time we saw him out was against Randy Brown, and he got face planted. Uh, you know, kind of a question mark on how he's gonna look. It's pretty violent knockout. So
yeah.
we'll see where he looks in here. Sagi, he is he's 22-2, but he does have quite a bit of finishes. So we know that he's not gonna be the guy to look to be boring here. At least that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he looks to impress. So yeah, give me Sagi.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got Saeed, and I think Saeed could get it done by submission here. I think um pretty sure Saeed was training with Islam last week. He was with Islam his whole fight camp, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless, this guy having a little bit of a layoff, in between his last fight and now he's making his UFC debut here. Buddy is always training, especially if you're coming from that Khabib camp
Mm-hmm.
and that whole gym. I mean, yeah, they're all those guys. They're constantly training, regardless if they're fighting or not. They're just all training. I don't know if you've seen the videos of them slipping and sliding on their fucking mats because it's just so
Nasty.
sweaty. Yeah, but anyways, I got Saeed. I think Saeed could get it done by submission here against Nicholas Dalby. Um, Dalby's just too, I feel like for Saeed, he's just too active on the feet when it comes to the striking and shit, and Saeed's just gonna take him straight down.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. The next fight on the prelim, we get a featured prelim. This is undefeated Luke Riley. He's another guy out of Patty's gym versus Bogdan Grad. I've been seeing a lot of people kind of looking at him as like one of the underdogs to look at, and I totally agree. I just think Luke Riley has a very, very appealing striking. I think his striking is gonna disrupt a lot of the kicks that Bugden wants to throw. I think it's gonna keep him on the defense more than the offense. Uh, my one worry is Grad could look to wrestle a bit here, and if he does wrestle, how is Riley gonna react? Because I've seen clips of Riley's wrestling, and it's not the greatest. He gets taken down a lot against the cage. Uh, but he is undefeated for a reason, and he does get finishes. So look to see what he can do here. I'm hoping he can get a knockout finish here and impress the judges.
Yeah, didn't you also say Luke Riley is another guy out of
Yeah,
Patty's gym?
yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go with Luke Riley. I mean, he's over there training with Patty and all those guys that he got around him.
Mm,
Yeah, but I do agree with you though that Grad is a solid underdog here. I mean, we could see a little bit of mistakes coming from Luke Riley. I mean, who knows though? Who
yeah,
knows?
yeah. Next fight, we get on the main card opener. We get the much anticipated Kyoji Horiguchi. He's been trying to get this fight since June. The fight got canceled. It was against Tagir, but now they get it here in Qatar. Bit of the homeland for Tagir. So that's kind of my worry here. I'm kind of worried about the hometown cooking because Tagir he's not that impressive to me. Um, I think this has very much a chance to go to a split, and I'm worried that if it's on a split, it could go to Tagir. But I think Kyoji, 34-5, he has over double the experience of Tagir, and he does have the finishing potential. He can wrestle, he can strike, and I trust him to get it done here. He is kind of he was one of the rising goats, and now he's here making his second run in the UFC. So we'll see what he does, but my pick is Kyoji.
Yeah, I got Kyoji. You know, both these guys are around the same age, but Kyoji has, if not more than double the experience than Tagir has here.
Hmm.
I mean, Kyoji fought against one of the greatest flyweights of all time in Demetrius Johnson when Demetrius Johnson was in his prime. Um, yeah, I think the underdog here will have a little bit more experience over Tagir.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Kyoji.
All right. Next fight. Here we go with the pullout. It is Shamil Gaziev versus none other than Waldo Cortez Acosta. Salsa boy. He's fighting down in the rankings again. He just came off of a win over Ante Delija where he got eye poked pretty bad and came out with a knockout win. Now he gets Shamil Gaziev, a guy whose only loss is a KO loss. This is going to be a striker's delight for sure. Both guys are going to look to stand and bang. And I think if Waldo gets a finish here on a short notice, literally 2 days out, uh, I feel like he's almost undeniable to be in the number one contender fight. If not, fight for the title after Tom. I think he can definitely be in that conversation. I think the odds are pretty crazy. I think Salsa Boy, being a short notice replacement, I feel like he should be, even more of a favorite because he has such great boxing and he's such a volume striker that he's not. I don't think he's gonna have to worry about any sort of takedown threat here. And as long as it's standing and as long as he works his jab well, I think he is very live to get a finish here. If not, at least win on the scorecards unanimous.
Yeah, I mean, Acosta, he most definitely got a fucking chin on him, bro.
Hmm.
He has a chin on him, and Kaziev has some heavy hands, but I think Acosta, like you were saying, I think he's gonna be a lot quicker on his feet here. Um, it's crazy that he's taking this fight, but exactly like you just said, if he gets a win here, especially a finish, he's at that point, he's most definitely undeniable for that title shot conversation.
Yeah.
Smoked Dillinger. after that nasty eye poke. Now he's taking this fight on short notice, and like you said, fighting down in the rankings.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is pretty impressive from Acosta, in my opinion. I didn't at first I didn't really like the guy. I didn't
He's
really
growing
like the
on
guy
me.
because yeah, he's most definitely grown on me. I think one of the fights that I didn't like, I forget who he was fighting against, but like the entire time he was just talking hella shit. It was against Arlovsky. Arlovsky. He was just like talking hellish shit and just like just acting like really cringy in the
Yeah.
octagon. But I mean, he's came out and he's showed what he's capable of. So
Yeah.
props to him. And if Salsa Boy were to get a finish here or even a win, yeah, that would be huge for him.
Yeah.
But
I think he's looking at a date with Volkov with the win here.
I'm not gonna lie though, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on the odds. I feel like they should be flipped. I really do feel
Really?
like they should be flipped. I feel
Because
like
of the short
Acosta should be
notice?
just because of the short notice. But I
Okay.
mean, like, hey, last card, dude, we saw some fucking kid come off of 48 hours notice, go
Yeah.
out there and beat somebody's ass, and then he goes back to work. I sent you that video. Ethan
Yeah.
Ewing
Yeah.
fucking working in construction and
He's a
shit.
concrete guy.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. But I mean, that's just how I feel here.
Hmm?
Just the
Fair
fact
enough.
that Kaziev is, is probably working on a full camp against a guy like Spivak.
Yeah.
Um, Not comparing Acosta to Spivak at all, but I mean, that's just how I feel.
Hmm.
Acosta could completely come out here and just starch buddy,
Yeah.
but
And
I don't know.
I mean, it's almost a similar opponent to Spivak. I mean, they did fight before Spivak
Yeah,
and Acosta, but Acosta, I mean, like Acosta does have a bit of wrestling that he can fall onto as well. And so, I mean, for Gaziev, it's like you're kind of fighting the same person. It's just a bit of a different type of fight.
yeah,
You're getting the
100%.
guy that won't be scared to bang with you on the feet. Spivak was a guy that definitely was going to look to take you down. So I see what you're saying here for sure. Uh, Moving on though, up the main card, we get Jack Hermanson versus Mitvik Rolby. This is Hermanson fighting down a weight class at 37 years old. It's a bit of a silly mistake, if I'm being honest. I think he's I think he fit fine where he was. He beat a Joe Pfeiffer who was on a run through the rankings at middleweight, and now he's wanting to come down and take the fight here. I feel like this plays more into the yard of Oralby for sure. He's a savage. He has great wrestling, um, and he's just the younger fighter. He's got 10 years on Hermanson. I think he can do a lot here. Um, and we've seen him take damage. We know he's got a chin on him. We know how he likes to get in there and bang. Last time we saw Hermanson out was against RoboCop, and he took a nap on the mat. So yeah, I like Rollby in this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, I got the descendant of fucking Genghis Khan himself, Orobai. I think Orobai can get it done here. Um, I think honestly, I think Orobai's just gonna bitch Jack Hermanson.
Yeah,
Look at Orobai's last fight. He just went in there and just fucking wrapped up that Kimura. Fucking, I'm pretty sure it was in the first round, but could be wrong.
against Tafik. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
first round.
wrap that up in the first round. Yeah, I got Orobai. I think Orobai can get it done. I think he can get it done inside the distance too.
Yeah. Moving up the card, our third fight or second fight from the main, we get Volkan Ozdemir, the once title challenger at light heavyweight versus Alonzo Menafield, the former football player. I like Volkan in this one. He comes in, he's coming off of the loss to Olberg. Just straight savage boxer, the same guy who knocked out Alonzo in like 10 seconds. And Volkan went to a decision with him. If we're playing MMA math, you got the more durable guy versus a guy who has been pretty chinny in a couple of his last few fights. Uh, and I think Volkan's just looking to bounce back here and keep his spot in the rankings. Menifield's on a 2-fight win streak over Walker and over who did he just fight last night? Umar Sy. I mean, that was an impressive win, but I think Volkan just, he carries a lot more power in the hands, and I think Alonso's going to have to mind his P's and Q's here. But I'm still taking Volkan by KO.
Yeah, the only way I see Alonzo possibly winning here is if he just if he were to implement whatever he implemented against Sai, or he just gets some crazy flash knockout.
Mm-hmm.
But Vulcan, like you said, Vulcan is a big, heavy dude, big, thick dude. He's one of those thumb people that we've been talking about. I think he also has some crazy power
Mm-hmm.
in his hands. He knocked out fucking Johnny Walker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Vulcan can get it done. I think Vulcan can knock out a dude like Menefield. Menefield's been chinned a couple of times. And
Yeah.
like you just said, MMA math. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you got to take Vulcan there.
Yeah. Moving into our co-main of the night, we get Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Gary. This is going to be wrestler versus striker for sure. But we just saw an interview where Ian Gary's kid was talking to Bilal and asking if he's going to stand with him, and Bilal said we can stand with him. Last time he said that, it ended up being a big mistake. Jack, boxed his head off, and took it on the scorecards unanimous. I think if he's going to do that here, he's going to lose pretty easily. He might even get finished. Ian Gary's not someone you want to stand with. He's got one of the fastest head kicks in this division, and he's just long and rangy, and he's going to be a problem if Bilal doesn't get to the hips and try and wrestle him. And I gotta take Ian Gary. He's only his only loss is to none other than Shavkat. And other than that, he's beaten a lot of the other guys that are up here in the rankings. He beat Carlos Prates, given that was short notice, but that was short notice on the side of Ian Gary. Prates was supposed to fight what was it, Jeff Neal?
I think so.
Yeah, and so Ian Gary won that on a short notice. It was a 5-rounder, and he took on the scorecards. He almost got beat in the fifth, so I mean, there's an argument to be made there, but he did win, and now we're here, and he's getting the Bilal Muhammad fresh off of a title loss. Uh, yeah, I like Ian Gary here by decision. This is a 3-rounder, so this is going to be a quick fight. Unfortunately, I wish it was a 5-rounder because maybe we would see a little bit more out of Bilal.
Yeah, I got the side of Ian Gary winning here. I just I think Buddy's fight IQ is just too high here for someone like Bilal Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Gary isn't much of a wrestler, like he can find some good positions where he's the dominant one. In those grappling
Mm-hmm.
exchanges. Uh, Probably it's just because he's so fucking long,
Yeah,
and he knows how to do shit.
yeah.
He's always hanging out with he's always hanging out with Brazilians because they fuck his wife.
His BJJ
Okay,
is improving because
I'm
Shavkat he almost did choke out Shavkat. Take it back, Z. Take it back.
I'm getting off track here, but I mean, yeah, he does hang out with a lot of fucking Brazilians, and I mean,
Hmm.
he was hanging out with Charles. Pretty sure he was in Charles's camp for one of his fights. But yeah, I got Ian Machado the Cuck Gary, so
Unreal.
that's where I'm putting my money on. What?
Uh,
Say it.
don't say that. Next fight, we get the main event. We got Armin Sarukian versus Dan Hooker. These guys have been beefing on the internet. There's been a bad blood going into this one for sure. Dan Hooker's talking about how he's worked for everything he has, and he's saying that Armin's just a silver spoon baby, which is true. I mean, his parents are pretty fucking loaded, and he gets to kind
Wait,
of
Hooker actually said that?
yeah. He said I don't know if it was on an embedded video, but it was I saw people talking about it on Twitter that he said
That's
it.
hella funny.
Uh but
That's what I
yeah,
was saying the other night.
yeah, yeah. I like Dan Hooker a lot. I respect the hell out of him. I just worry what he's gonna look like because he just had hand surgery not too long ago, and he hasn't fought since that. But he's also pretty pissed off with the UFC because he feels like they're doing him dirty a lot of the time. Not giving him the fights that he wants, and he gets an Armin Sarukian who is just a savage grappler, a super super good fucking kickboxer. He's kind of everything that is gonna be a problem in the lightweight division. Is gonna be a problem for Ilya if he does pull this off. And I think he's gonna get this sub pretty quick, either first or second round submission for Armin. We've seen Dan Hooker fight wrestlers, but he hasn't fought the kind of wrestlers that Armin has. Armin has been competing outside of UFC with a lot of grappling events. choked out Benson Henderson, put him to sleep with the crazy arm choke. Yeah, I think Arbin is gonna win this. As much as I hate to say, because I want to root for Dan, big fan of Dan, but I think this is just a bad matchup for him.
No, I got Dan Hooker, bro. I think Dan Hooker's gonna beat the brakes out of Armin
We can
Sarukian.
hope. We can hope.
Um,
Peace, 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 and then take his
nah,
money.
yeah, that's what I hope for. That's what I honestly hope for. But putting that all outside of the window, I gotta agree with Joe here. Literally everything that he said is pretty spot on. Armin Sarukian, I feel like, is one of those guys who are gonna be at the very top, and they're gonna be at the top for a while. For a while, excuse me. Um, One thing I will say is I actually kind of was a fan of Armin when Armin was coming up. I saw him and I was just like, okay, this guy, like he has the frame, he has the build, he has the skill set. He looks like he's gonna be a pretty good fucking contender
Mhm.
for the title. And then he fought Charles, and then I was like, yeah, I don't know if I fuck with you, but
You beat my sweet prince.
yeah, I mean, in if you look at this fight, like what is the smartest choice? Yeah, you got to go with the heavy fucking favorite here. But I'm gonna sprinkle some shit on Dan Hooker. I can't steer past that.
Yeah,
My pick here in this fight is going to be Dan Hooker. I think Dan Hooker can get it done. One of the things I had talked about in the Tuesday video was this could be Dan Hooker's last possible chance of ever getting this close to sniffing the belt.
hmm
He's like one of those dudes. He's gonna be one of those dudes where it's like, Kevin Holland is fighting. I'll go watch that fight. Oh, Dan Hooker is fighting. You see what I'm saying?
hmm
Like, no disrespect to Dan Hooker, but I feel like if he goes and loses this fight, they're not gonna give him another opportunity here unless he goes on some crazy fucking run, which is
At
very unlikely.
yeah,
You
35
know,
years old, about to be 36.
35 years old, and like look at some of the contenders in the lightweight division right now. I mean,
Yeah, it's stacked, bro. It's a young man's game right now.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing though about Hooker is that like he's talked about like as even though he's this old in his career, he feels like he's completely rejuvenated, whatever, however the fuck you say that word,
Rejuvenated with an N.
rejuvenated. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that shit.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, that's what Dan Hooker was talking about. Dan Hooker feels like he's a completely new fighter. He's a new man. Um, and that's what I hope to see come Saturday afternoon. I hope to
Yeah.
see Dan Hooker just fucking box off Armin's head.
Yeah. That's it for the quick picks. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll over into the betting lines. These are up to date right now. So we'll go through them real quick and we'll talk about props that we like and props that we would consider taking. And then after this, we'll roll over to the whiteboard and talk about our actual picks and things that we have already cooked up. If you guys haven't joined our Discord link has picks. I posted the same plays I talked about on last Friday's card, and I'll do the same for this card as well. So that way you guys get what we talk about and what we are playing. So let's talk about the first fight of the night. We got Denzel Freeman and Mark Buhilo. This one, I said Freeman on the money line, but I probably would play this on, not going the distance. Oh, probably not that actually. Minus 700. I'd probably play, fuck that. Never mind. I'd probably play the under 1.5 too. Both these guys, Mark is 6-0 and he has 6 finishes. Whether or not it's against bums, it's kind of out of the question. Denzel Freeman, he fought better competition in LFA. There's a very good chance this fight does not see the scorecards. And who knows who's gonna win it. Denzel is the bigger guy. He's got like 20 pounds on him. So I think the safe side is Freeman. But, it is heavyweight, so there's a lot of shit that can happen. So I think under 1.5 is the play that I would take here. What do you got, Z? Anything you want to look at here?
What's the KO at? That's
Freeman
plus money.
Freeman is plus, Buhilo is plus 360, and then Buhilo's sub is plus 650. Wins in round one, 210. Buhilo round one, 460. I think round 1 would be the play. I think this would be over quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take the KO prop there.
Yeah. Next fight, this one I feel like it's either one or two ways. It's either Aaliyah by decision, or you're taking Shamrock by sub, or Shamrock by decision as well, I guess. Neither of these guys really got the finishing capabilities of striking, but Aaliyah is a decision merchant. Aaliyah is almost plus money. He opened up plus money, but now he's buying in a lot on the decision. Rock by decision is plus 700. That's worth a look at. And then Rock by sub is plus 500. So there's two ways to look at that for sure. I'd probably play the over 2.5. That's probably be the play I like here, or even fight going to a decision minus 150. I think as much as I hate to say it, this fight could be a really boring fight, like you talked about, Z. So
Sorry, I have this raccoon that I just caught. Yeah, I feel like it could possibly go that route. But I'm just gonna take the Shamrock money line.
yeah, you like the
I'm just
plus
gonna take
money.
the Yeah, I'm just gonna take the plus money here and just go with Shamrock.
Yeah. Next fight, we get the underdog Ryan Loader. I'm probably going to just do what you just said. I'm going to take the Ryan Loader underdog. But if I were to play a prop, like I said, Ryan Loader by ground and pound, so KO plus 500. Let's see, what's the over under at? Over under was at 2.5. I mean, yeah, under 2.5 is pretty good as well. On the side of Loader, I'm not really sure what I would look at for Nerdiev. But no, I definitely just like the money line there. I just take Loader money line.
Yeah, I'm probably rocking with that Loader money line as well. But that Loader by KO though,
Plus 500 is pretty juicy.
at plus 500 is pretty juicy.
Yeah. Next fight, we get Alexander Taporia versus Beksa Almakan. I'm definitely taking the over in this one. I think this is going to be a one of those grapplers delights.
I mean,
We get to kind of see where Taporia, Timu Taporia is with his grappling. But I mean, there is chance for a finish on the side of Taporia. I think if Vexat wins this, it's going to be on the scorecards.
that over being plus money is kind of crazy.
Well, I mean,
It's kind of
yeah.
it's kind of that's kind of nuts, being plus money at 2.5. Like Alexandre wasn't Alexandre's last fight on short notice against Colby Thickness?
I'm not sure if it was short notice, but it was definitely against Colby. I think it
Yeah, I
was short
mean
notice.
Topuria took Buddy to decision, and then Bekzat, if okay, I'm just saying this in the terms of like if Topuria's hype, especially his brother being who his brother is, if that hype is there and it follows behind that skill set, I do see this fight going to a possible decision.
Yeah.
I think Bekzat's gonna have too much for Topuria, and I think Topuria will be able to drag it out.
Yeah, I think a lot of this over under is bought in on the hype of it being a Taporia brother.
Yeah,
Because he is the favorite. It opened up even, and now it's just grown to him being a bigger favorite, and we're seeing the over under being plus
was
money.
that Alexandre's debut? Was it against Thickness?
We can look real quick. I want to say yes. I think it was. Yeah. Am I passing it? Why am I seeing it?
Earlier, right there. You just pass it.
Oh, I keep looking at Bex. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Uh, that was his debut.
Yeah,
Wow,
I
he was supposed to
mean,
fight Cody Haddon. That's who
oh,
Lawmaker was supposed to fight too.
see that would have been. Oh wait, I'm thinking about someone else. I'm thinking about Cody Durden. Um,
That's who
yeah,
Lawmaker was supposed to fight.
I mean, if you just think about this real quick, Topuria coming off of his debut, taking Thickness to a decision, Bekzat losing on a decision against Umar, taking his next fight, and then Bekzat wins by knockout.
Hmm. Looks like they're thinking. Looks like they're thinking Almacon's gonna get the knockout. Almacon's got the lower odds for a knockout than Taporia, but that doesn't make
It's
sense
crazy.
because then why is Taporia the favorite?
I mean, Bekzat just became the underdog as well. Like all week leading up till today,
Yeah, it's just people buying in on
Bekzat
the
was
money
sitting
line.
as a
Then
it was like even money,
mm,
but yeah, I gotta go with Bekzat. I gotta go with Bekzat here. And honestly, I do think he could possibly get that KO finish as well. He has those fucking hands, bro, and he put out his last opponent by knockout.
uh, next fight we get
Yeah,
Nicholas. You
my
go.
bad, my bad.
You're good. We're getting Nicholas Dalby versus Saeed. Um, I will say this about Dalby. Dalby has fought Randy Brown. Yes, Randy Brown knocked him out, but Randy Brown also got knocked out by Gabriel Bonfim, and Nicholas Dalby knocked out Gabriel Bonfim. So we've seen Dalby fight these wrestler type fighters before, but this is a guy out of Khabib's camp. It's a bit different. It's a guy with that heavy sambo background. Um, I got to go with the side of Saeed. Can't fade a guy when he's fighting, basically in his hometown and, fights the way he does. He's a savage. He's not just going to lay on you and look to control you. I think he definitely could against a guy like Dalby, though. But I think Saeed could get this done by sub. Saeed is plus 390. Pretty solid odds. They have a plus 320 and plus 390. Both are pretty live. I'd probably just say play about inside the distance if you're really worried about, ground and pound. I don't think it'll be ground and pound. I think he's just gonna, look to get him down, pepper some shots, and then go for the neck.
Yeah, I see that happening as well. My
Inside
pick
is
here
plus one.
is gonna be Saeed by submission.
Next fight, we got Abdul Rahman Yukaya versus Rafael Cerqueira. They don't even have an over under listed. They on other books they have under huge. I mean,
Gross, bro. Look at the fight doesn't go to the distance.
oh man. Uh this is like this is a fight we're not gonna touch. I mean, I don't really care to go over it. I mean I could show
He's minus 2,000 at Caesars,
Yakaya by
minus
KO
1,600.
is minus money. I mean, if you wanted to parlay it, that's the way you're gonna parlay it. But like I said, I'm not really comfortable taking anything on this fight just because yeah, I don't really care to take a guy at minus 1,000 odds. Um, that's really it's probably the only play here is Yakai by KO or Yakai round one. It's even lower odds than the KO. What? Minus 140, round one's minus 180. I think
What?
I would just take the prop straight up then. What the hell? But yeah, I think that's
What?
really the only play there.
First round for him should be like fucking minus 200 then.
Right? That is pretty silly.
I mean, it's minus 200 at Caesars, but
Yeah. Next fight, we get Luke Riley versus Bogdan Grad. The over-under is 2.5. Hmm. I like the over. I think this could go the distance. I think Luke Riley could get this done inside the distance though. Riley at plus 150 for the KO. I don't really know how Grad would probably have to win on the scorecards if Grad were to win this. Plus 550. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm probably just gonna take Riley money line and just use it as a parlay piece. It's not a lot of
I got
this is kind of a weird matchup. So
I got Luke Riley as well. But like I was saying, Grad might be a good underdog to look at.
mm.
But my pick here is Luke Riley.
Next one, Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev. The over/under is 2.5. I definitely think this is going over. Um, even going to a decision, minus 170. I think that's very live. Uh, Asu does have really good submission skills, though. So let's look at an Asu submission. Asu by sub. Did I pass
You
it?
passed
I
it.
definitely did pass it. Almabayev by decision. Almabayev sub plus 450. Mm, that's definitely worth a look.
I like that Perez by knockout. I like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna consider this for the cycle. Probably, I'm gonna buy it by sub. Next card or next fight, we got Kyoji Horiguchi Tagir. This is going to the scorecards. I mean, I don't really even care. I mean, minus 300. minus 240 for going to the decision. Or Gucci by decision is how I think it'd get done. Plus 260. Ulanbekov is plus 120. Let's look at a split. I've been talking about a split every time we talk about this fight because I think this could have some home cooking on it. Let me know if you see it, Z. I don't think I'm seeing. Yeah, I don't see it. But I think a split is very, very live on this one. Yeah, oh well. But either way, I think Horiguchi on the decision is the play at plus 260. If you just want to play it safe and play parlay pieces at less odds, 300 for over, or if I go to the distance at a couple points less. This is a short notice one. They don't have any props yet, but what I would consider taking is Waldo Salsa Boy at KO. Or just take him on the money line. He is short notice. Like Z was saying, he should be the underdog. Whether or not you agree with it, that's probably the reality of it. But yeah, I definitely like Waldo on the money line. Short notice is good enough for me, and we're getting a decent price on him.
Yeah, I think Acosta could get it done there.
Yeah. Next fight, Jack Hermanson versus Mitzvik Rollby. I think Rollby can get this done inside the distance. I'm not sure which way I want to take it by the KO because we saw him get KO'd last time, but we know Rollby has great submissions. We just saw Rebet in his last fight. Let's look real quick. Rollby by sub plus 550. Rollby by KO is plus 310. Damn, they're pricing this crazy. What's the decision? Rollby by decisions. Plus, they really think he's going to win by decision. I don't think it's going to the scorecards. I think he's going to totally just ruin Hermanson. I got to see what the weight cut looks like too in the morning because it'll be in the morning that we see it because I think they're like
Yeah.
12 hours ahead or whatever. But yeah, let's see inside the distance. Inside this, it's got to be like plus like 120 or something. Fuck, bro. Terrible at reading. Whatever. But I think I'll probably just take it inside the distance on this one because I think he can get it done either way. Next fight on the card, we get the light heavyweights. We get Alonzo Menafield versus Volkan Ozdemir. I think Volkan gets his own inside the distance. I think the under 2.5 is very live. This could even be a round one knockout for Volkan. Let's see. Ozdemir by KO is 140. Menafield by KO is plus 500. Let's look at the round ones. Ozdemir round one plus 270. Menafield round one plus 1,000. Jesus. Yeah, I think Ozdemir is very live for that round one finish by KO.
Yeah, he got some hands.
Mm-hmm.
I Vulcan by KO.
Yeah. Next one, we get the co-main. We get the Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Gary. Oh, damn, they really think this fight's going to go to the scorecards. Super heavy.
I mean, it's a 3-rounder.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I just didn't think they were going to price it out the fucking door like
But
that.
but to be fair, so was Morales versus Brady, and so was Pratis versus Edwards. So kind of exactly like you were talking about, this sets the stage for what happens next for the welterweight division after this fight here, and it all kind of lands on Gary.
Yeah.
I think it's just gonna go by decision. Honestly, I think Gary wins by decision here.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary by let's look at the decision props if you take a side here. We've been saying Gary by decision. Gary by KO is plus 460. I might sprinkle on that low key.
Yeah, I just feel like with Gary, the one thing I talked about is like his IQ, and he's also one of those fighters who will shut everything down so that he doesn't get hit in the face.
Yeah.
He'll, hug you up against the cage, he'll hold you there, and I feel like if you really, I feel like Muhammad might get flowing a little bit when Gary starts to throw those long shots, those like longer those kicks, because
Yeah.
Muhammad was a champion. As much shit as I kind of talk about Muhammad, or like
And
as
he
much as I
grinded to
kind of
get
don't.
there.
Yeah, he most definitely grinded to get there. So Yeah, I think this will be kind of a tough fight for Gary, just a little bit, and I think Gary gets it done though by decision.
Yeah. And then we'll see what the talk is for championship fights. Gary beat Prochess,
Yeah,
so he kind of has that tiebreaker as of right now over him. Um, but it's just whoever is more undeniable. So we'll see where it goes. Now onto the main event. And guys, before we get into the main event, if you could leave a like, comment, subscribe, we really appreciate it. Yeah, with that being said, let's get into it. Armin Sarukian, Dan Hooker. Armin, I think, like I said, I think he gets this done inside the distance. I don't. There's no way. I mean, under 3.5 is pretty tough, though. I mean, that's kind of what I talk about. Though I said Armin, if he gets a sub, it'd probably be round 1 or 2.
yeah,
3.5. I mean, we saw Dan Hooker go to the distance with Mateus Gamrot, who if we're playing MMA match, Gamrot beat Sarukian, but it's wrestling versus BJJ, and wrestling does tend to hold up pretty well against BJJ. And he did control Sarukian a lot in that fight, and he outpointed him. But we're getting the striker versus wrestler versus grappler matchup here, and I think the grappler has a pretty good chance. And even Dan Hooker with his finishing abilities, he rocked Gamrot pretty bad when they fought. I think the under 3.5 is pretty live. Sarukian by sub plus 360. They really like his KO prop. I really think he's just gonna sub him up.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
Hooker's fucking bigger than him,
look
not
at
like physically, but taller than him,
Yeah, look at Hooker's KO prop. That's worth a sprinkle, right? Let's say
one hundred
50.
percent.
That's
It's a
pretty
five
crazy.
rounder too.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't think there's any way in hell this fight goes the distance. I think
I
I
mean,
think
like, have
you got to play it on a prop.
have we seen Armin like kind of rocked before? Have we ever seen him get rocked up?
He fought Islam once when Armin was like super new to UFC. And I don't know if it was his
Yeah,
debut or if it was one of his early fights in the UFC. And I'm not sure if he really got rocked, but I know he got hit pretty well with the head kick against Islam.
for sure. Because one of the things that I'm thinking about with this fight is like what happens when Dan Hooker survives until the later rounds.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Um, yeah, I mean, let's look. So we said Dan Hooker by KO would be one of the plays, plus 850. Armin sub plus 360. And it's really what I don't really like the TKO prop. I don't think he gets a KO. The under I like a lot. Um, that's really it. There's not really a lot crazy things I like on this fight.
Yeah, my pick. I'm a rock with that underdog pick, bro. I got Hooker. I think Hooker can get it done. One crazy thing I will say is one of our friends, we went and watched the fight. Dan Hooker was fighting Gamrot. Buddy decided to throw $400 on Dan Hooker money line,
That's right.
and I almost tried to talk him out of it, bro. I was like, Gamrot, dude, he's kind of a grinder, and he was like, nah, I'm gonna slap all my money on the biggest underdog on the main card, and it was Dan
Yeah.
Hooker. Ended up cashing that out for about 1,700.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to do what he did. I'm not gonna put that crazy amount, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's worth a
gonna most
sprinkle.
definitely, yeah, throw Dan Hooker on a couple of parlays. Match that up with something else. But yeah, I got Dan Hooker winning that fight.
And with that being said, let's move to the whiteboard. Now, here on the whiteboard is where we give you guys our picks, talk about our plays, uh, and at the end of the video, I will post a black screen, and the black screen is going to have all our picks. You can screenshot that. It'll have Joe's picks, which are my picks, and it'll have Z's picks, which are his picks. But here we'll talk about it, and so that way you can just listen to it. But if you don't want to listen to it,
So
you can just skip to the end, and then there you go.
so our bets don't pop up over here anymore. They
Yeah,
don't pop
it's
up
too
as
much
we're talking
time.
about them.
Too much time to edit.
So before we get into this though, I feel like we should just make our faces bigger. Just put them like straight in the middle.
Okay, okay.
Don't do it now, but
But you're saying for
um,
for for later, yeah. Gotcha.
yeah. So we don't have all this room above our heads.
I got you.
You want to go first with some of your plays or?
I'm gonna do it anyway. Fuck you.
Oh, okay then.
You can go first.
Um,
I'm gonna work on this first.
Yeah, I got a few written up. One play I got is Denzel Freeman by KO, Bekzat Almakan money line, and especially since he's moved over to the underdog here, I'm liking that. So I got Bekzat money line, Orobai money line, and Saeed money line or submission. Honestly, I might just take a double chance with that and just make it like fucking KO or sub or something.
Is that better?
I fuck with that.
Mm.
It's just weird, having all that space above us and
Yeah, yeah. I guess
we're
you're
not
right
putting
though.
anything there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I
whatever you
guess.
say.
Another thing I like to make for cards is a parlay piece where I think a lot of fighters are live for the knockout. And fuck it, I'm gonna throw it on there. Abdul Rahman by KO, Oral by KO, and Vulcan by KO. Um, if you want to get a little degen, go ahead and throw the first fight on there as well. Denzel Freeman by knockout.
Mhm.
Some underdogs that I think are pretty live to win. Spivak was on there, but since he pulled out, it's down to just two legs, and that's going to be Shamrock and Ryan Loder. Um, might even throw on fucking Alex Perez. Might even throw Alex Perez on there. But as of right now, that's just going to be a solid little two-legger. But I probably should have saved that Alex Perez pick for this next one because this is a degenerate underdog play. Still has Ryan Loder on there, but it has Alex Perez and Dan Hooker as well for a three-leg parlay. Um, I got a cycle prop, Saeed submission, Gary by decision, and Volkan Uzdemir by KO. Um, this is how I see the main card kind of playing out. Literally all the fights in the main card. Alex Perez versus Asu over. I think it was over 2.5 rounds. Um, I could be wrong. I think it's over 1.5 actually. Uh, fuck. It was Spivak and Gaziev fight not going the distance. But I'm gonna still roll with that. Honestly, I'm gonna still roll with that. Acosta versus Gaziev fight not going the distance. Oral by money line, Vulcan KO, Gary money line, and Armin Sarukian and Dan Hooker fight not going the distance. Um,
Cook.
Another cycle parlay that I got. As much as I want to fucking say Hooker KO, as much as I want to say Hooker KO, my submission play is Armin by sub, Vulcan KO, and Gary by decision.
Let him cook.
And if you want to get a little degenerate, if you want to be a little degenerate going into the main card, Oral by KO, Vulcan KO, Dan Hooker by knockout. Those are all my picks for UFC Qatar.
All right.
So far.
Yeah, so far. Now we'll get into my picks. What I always do is I do my prelim and my main card, and then I'll throw a couple fighter props. So we'll start off the bat. Denzel Freeman, money line. Shamrock. I'll take a spread. I'll take his plus 3.5. Ryan Loder, money line. Taking fight to go the distance at Begzat Almakan and Alexandra Tapuria. I'm not taking anything in the Abdul fight. And then I'm gonna skip that, go to Asio Mabayev money line, and I'm gonna go Saeed money line, and then I'm gonna go Luke Riley money line. I'm gonna go fuck, dude. Is Kyoji the favorite? Kyoji is the favorite. No, he's the underdog. Okay, cool. I'm taking Kyoji on the spread. I don't think there's any way he gets 30-27 here. I think he'll get 29-28, maybe even get the win himself. And then I'm taking Waldo Cortez. Oh, actually, no, it's all main card stuff. So we'll cut it off at Luke Riley. I'm just reading off the typology right now. So main card, Kyoji Horiguchi on the spread, and then Waldo on the spread or on the money line. Mitzig Olbai on the money line. Volkan Ozdemir, just gonna take the KO. I'm hoping that fight doesn't go the distance. I'm gonna be pissed if that does. Ian Gary on the decision, and then Armin Sarukian by sub. I'm gonna take a shot there. So then my cycle. I gotta cook this up real quick. I didn't have anything written down. I'm gonna go place these all tomorrow after work, so bear with me. I'm gonna take Saigid by sub. I'm gonna take Kyoji Horiguchi to get the robbery in Tagir's hometown. I'm gonna take Kyoji by decision, which means my KO prop is gonna be Volkan Ozdemir. So that's my KO prop. And then spreads. If I did spreads, it'd probably be Begzot plus 3.5. It'd be Ryan Loader plus 3.5. It'd be Shamrock plus 3.5. I think he's live to win a round. He does have wrestling of his own. It'd be Walter Cortez minus 3.5. Actually, he would have the minus because he's the favorite. Mitzig Olbai minus 3.5. And then maybe Bilal plus 3.5. Or I think he's for sure live to win a round. I don't think there's any way he gets swept. And that's it for my spreads. What else do I play? Is there any potential for round 1 finishes here? I think there's not that many. I think so if I did round 1 finishes, I would do Denzel Freeman. I would do Abdul Rahman. I would do Volkan. And then I'd probably do Armin. Just a little 4-legger right there.
Degenerate.
Yeah, that's probably all I'm gonna play for Qatar. At least off the top of my head. If I want to sprinkle later and chase some shit, it'd be some shit I would post in the Discord. But usually fight nights I like to keep it pretty light. Pay-per-views I'll hammer. But the fight nights I'm starting to lighten up a bit on just because they haven't been too great down this stretch late in the year. But yeah, hopefully that turns around once Paramount gets a hold of it. As of right now, that's all we got. Any other picks you guys see?
Not quite. That's pretty much it for now. I will get on top of sharing a lot more of my picks. One thing I'll start doing is when I lock in like a ladder play, I'll screenshot it before I place my bet, and I'll throw that in the Discord. Just to let, if any of you guys, we appreciate you if you do join the Discord. Like Joe was saying earlier, we will post all of our stuff on there just in case you missed anything.
Yeah.
All the screenshots will be in there. All of our parlays that we've written up will be in there. And like I said, I will, stay on top of that and sharing, our ladder plays, because that's one thing that we talk about a lot. But you guys can't really see that. So, that's one thing I'll start doing as well. So you guys can kind of keep up on that too.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's pretty much all I got. Like I was saying, we appreciate you guys for sticking around, watching our videos, showing us support, and stay cozy. Thank you.
Yeah, stay cozy, guys. Have fun on Saturday. Wake up, get that morning coffee in. It's be an early card. Reminder, it's at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So, be ready for an early card.
One more thing I want to say. Don't come join the Discord, bro. Come watch the fights with us, dude. We're always in here. We're always in here streaming, watching the fights together. So if you guys want to come and hang out, talk about MMA, talk about UFC, come join the Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Let's grow our community 100%.
Yeah, 100%, guys. With that being said, though, we'll see you Saturday. If you do come in, don't be afraid to stop and say hi. We appreciate you guys as always. Stay cozy. We'll talk to you guys on the recap Sunday.